Hey guys, Ben here. I am in the science fiction and fantasy section of my local Barnes & Noble, one of my favorite hangouts in the city, and thought I'd do a video. Divergent, the movie's coming out March 21st, and I've read the book, I've read all the Hunger Games, and I thought it'd be appropriate to do a video about what to expect from this movie, and also to compare it to the Hunger Games and what I thought about the two. I mean, I went and watched the movie for the second Hunger Games and posted something on Facebook, and one of my friends said, "Hey, I think you should read Divergent. You'll like it better." And I didn't, but big thanks to Ruthie for an enjoyable read and kind of the inspiration for this video here. Now, so there's four things I'd like to talk about Divergent and how they cross compare to the Hunger Games. So we'll dive right in. Number one, Veronica Roth's version of a dystopian future. The thing about the Hunger Games is that future could actually happen. You know, a big evil government who uses people to, you know, create, you know, to farm for them, to mine for them, to do everything so that they don't have to work, and a government that does evil displays of power to show that they're actually in power and the underdogs are not. That's possible. Veronica Roth's idea in Divergent isn't possible. It's a little too creatively unrealistic for me. Basically, the premise is that, you know, in the future, after, you know, the world's gone to Hades in a handbasket, and we're scraping up the pieces. Humanity comes back into order. We all congregate in, you know, future downtown Chicago, and we decide how we're going to run this new government, and somehow we come up with this idea. So we're going to split everybody up into 5 factions. Every child has to choose a faction from an early age and stay in that faction for the rest of their life. And here's the factions: the brutally honest faction, the bully faction, the pushover faction, the brainiac faction, and the hippies faction. Or, in so many words, basically. It's just a little too creative for me, a little too fantastic, a little too fantasical. You know, what people are going to think it through that much and say that's how we're going to run the world? Yeah, you know, I know it's fiction. It's fiction, but, you know, the idea of a dystopian future is it's actually based on something that, you know, it centers around something that could actually happen. Maybe we won't burn books in the future, but the whole idea of censorship was very aptly put in Fahrenheit 451. This future, yeah, I don't get anything from that. So, yeah, kind of an, maybe I think too much. Maybe I think too much. I don't know. But, I like the Hunger Games better on that point. Number 2. The whole meaning of the name of the book, Divergent. What is Divergent? Now, I promised I wouldn't give any spoilers here for those of you who haven't read the book, but so I won't. But I won't give too big of spoilers. Here's the thing: there's all this build-up in the book. Triss, or Beatrice, finds out that she's divergent. And you spend half the book wondering what Divergent is, and she spends half the book wondering what Divergent is, and you get excited. You're like, holy smokes, this means she's going to be like Neo from the Matrix and have some, you know, the ability to do kung fu. Or it means she's some sort of X-Man. Or it means at the very least she has some minimal superpower. She can turn invisible or have supersonic hearing or something. No. Basically, a way to break it down without spoilers, basically to be divergent means she was born with an immunity to truth serum. Use that for an example. She was born with an immunity to the big bad guy's chemical of choice, and somehow that makes her worthy of death. Now, her divergentness did help her save the world, or the world as it existed in futuristic Chicago. But as a whole, that was rather anticlimactic. That's all that Divergent meant. Point number 3, relationship porn. And before you go, whoa, what the heck are you saying, Ben? Here's what I mean. Like, if I wanted to read a book about a 16-year-old girl trying to go through this psychological, you know, psychological, mental relationship garbage with some guy in a futuristic world. I would read Twilight. That's the thing, like, the cool thing about the Hunger Games is a self-respecting guy could say that he's reading the Hunger Games and get no flack for it. Twilight wasn't that way. I'll say, you know, Divergent isn't Twilight. But she does delve into this stuff that, makes the book less mature. The Hunger Games can forever be known as a book that was good for kids and adults. Divergent, on the other hand, she throws in these things that kind of make it kind of childish, and this relationship porn is what I'm talking about. This stuff where, you know, Triss is saying the whole book in the first person, and it's like, oh, he, you know, and when Four brushed by me, like, I felt his arm touch my arm, and it sent a tingle of electricity down from the base of my neck all the way to my tailbone. But I'm still totally oblivious to the fact that I'm falling head over heels in love with him. Like what the heck? Like, get on with it. You know, Hunger Games, I appreciated the little bit of love story that was there, and I appreciated how little of it there was. This, on the other hand, Number 4. The ending of Divergent is really similar to the end of Catching Fire, so Hunger Games book number 2. The good guys have broken like a single hole, a little hole in the defenses of the big bad capital, and are basically just flying away on the last train out. You know, they are getting out of there just in the nick of time before the capital regroups and, you know, squelches what's left of their little rebellion. And, you know, that's the part where you know, Katniss is screaming because they had to leave Peeta behind, but Peeta was just a necessary sacrifice to get Katniss out because she was the most important thing there. She was the most important person there. So the good guys are getting out on the last plane out because they don't have any other options. The capital is bigger, stronger, and if they stuck around, they would all be dead. And Divergent kind of tries to make it in the same way. The Brainiacs have this big bad idea that's going to let them take over and have all the power over all that's left of the world, and they put that in action, and Triss and Four, because of their divergentness, are able to stop them, and so they get that done, and they're in this hurt. They bust through the bad guys, they knock out the big bad guy's big scheme, and then all of a sudden they turn around and you see them like running for it. You know, the book kind of ends with them running for it, them jumping on a train and them getting out as fast as possible. But when you stop and think about it, it's for no good reason at all. Because here's the deal. Basically, that big bad scheme that the Brainiac, you know, faction thought up, that was the only ace up their sleeve. Basically, the Brainiac faction doesn't have any weapons. They're not big and scary like the Capitol. Their only trick was to use the bully faction, the people with all the weapons, to take over the world, and that failed. And so all of a sudden, you have Triss and Four, who've just who have destroyed the Brainiac's only hope of winning. They could basically march back into town, crown themselves king and queen, and people would worship them for saving the planet. The bully faction, the one with all the guns, at least all the ones who haven't committed suicide, because, trust me, they're all very suicidal at this point for what the Brainiacs made them do. Those who haven't committed suicide will gladly take up arms and slaughter every last one of the Brainiacs faction right then and there. They would do it happily. We could be done with the bad guys permanently. But instead, the final scene is Triss and Four running for their lives from what? Like movie plots that could have been over in 5 minutes. This is like the trilogy that could have been over in one book. She could have made one book, had Triss and Four walk back in and crown themselves king and queen and be done right there. But for some reason, they're running away as fast as they can. For what reason? None at all. That wasn't very well thought out. So, you know, yeah, all in all, entertaining book. You can't expect anything, any, you know, science fiction fantasy to be perfect. Yeah, but it was okay. I will look forward to the movie. I think y'all should watch it, especially if you read the other one. I want you to comment below on what you think between the two movies, what you think between the two books, what you think they could have done better about the movie or better about the book. And as always, please subscribe. So I know you want me to keep doing these. I have fun doing them, and yeah, shoot, I'll keep doing them whether you subscribe or not. But I would love it if you did.